with everything happening in Washington, with the Commanders, with Dan Snyder, doesn't it start to seem like a very convenient option, as it's seeming like owners are starting to turn against Dan Snyder and trying to see if they can force his hand to sell the team? Doesn't it seem like a very convenient option to possibly be able to have someone like a Jeff Bezos, who already owns the Washington Post newspaper, who lives in Washington, D.C., and is already a partner of the NFL, be able to buy up the Commanders, particularly at a time when they're getting ready to have a new stadium built.
Yeah.
And it could truly be a complete fresh start with a brand new stadium that will probably be finished in 2025.
And just limitless money.
Yeah.
I mean,
all the money in the world
backing.
to restore them to a prestige franchise.
Yeah.
Already a partner of the NFL. We've seen it many times how close and chummy he's been with Roger Goodell at some of these Thursday games. They're sitting next to each other, laughing and joking. It's just starting to feel like, boy, that could be an answer to a problem for the NFL. And it only further entrenches Amazon and NFL's relationship. And I don't see really a conflict of interest there because, again, Jeff Bezos has stepped down as CEO. He would be buying it with his money. There are lots of NFL owners who have business interests that align with the NFL, so I don't really see any major issues there. Like I just feel like
for the NFL.
Yep.
Great for the NFL. It'd be great for the Commanders. It would be terrible for Bezos. I mean, because he's already kind of like, you're kind of a weird dude. I feel like people would hate him even more. Like, come on, dude! Like, you have to buy an NFL team now on top of everything else you own. Like, you own it. You're building spaceships, and now you got to buy an NFL team. And yeah, I think he draws the same kind of.
The only thing I'll say is he's taking it from Dan Snyder. So a lot of people, even if they feel like they may be jealous or they may not like the guy, but boy, he seems like a much better alternative than Dan Snyder.
Oh,
so
100%.
He's one of the only scenarios. This is one of the only scenarios that I feel like Jeff Bezos stepping in and buying the team that people would be happy about because it accomplishes the end goal of finishing off Dan Snyder as an owner.
Well, the Washington fan base would be ecstatic. And
could you not be?
Oh yeah, you could. You heard it here first, everybody. Just on when you get the horns. You heard the prediction first. We're going to play this back in the future.
Absolutely.
And you're going to spot
this. You better believe it.
I think that would be a killer move. I think he's going to draw some hatred, just like Elon did buying Twitter.
Sure.
So I'm like, really, dude? Like, do you need to? So I feel like you're going to get some of that from him. But he don't care. I mean, what does he care?
No.
He's like,
no.
And
honestly, I'm drawing a blank on the gentleman's name, but heirs to the Walmart family fortune there are the ones that bought the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
So, you look at this and you go, okay, look, you can't have it both ways. If you're the NFL and if you're fans of the NFL and you want to see this league, this game continue to be this hyper growth, amazing, explosive situation, all these amazing things happening. It's the biggest thing there is, and jersey sales, all kinds of merchandise, everything else. Man, the value then of teams is going to be escalating to such a degree that it dramatically limits the number of people who would be able to buy a team. So therefore, it's going to be people that aren't necessarily the most popular. It doesn't matter like what your thoughts are on it. It's hey man, we have a very small pool of people that can afford to buy an NFL team. So the ones that can, we're looking for someone that we can approve. And boy, Jeff Bezos, I feel like could glide right through.
Yeah, owners would be swooning over him. All the other owners, they'd be more than happy to have someone like him.
I will say I've not heard this said by anyone. So there may be some reason that this could never happen because I've never heard this discussed. I'm sure someone has said it somewhere along the line, but it's not something that I've heard. And there may be a very good reason why people don't talk about it as an option. But I just feel like the cards, all the stars are aligning for this to be able to work out. Again, Bezos is already in Washington. He owns the Washington Post. He lives in D.C., at least part-time. he has very strong relations with the NFL and the commissioner and all the money in the world, and clearly has an interest in the NFL. So, I mean, this is just, in my mind, the next logical step. So take that for what it's worth.
Well, this is your first time saying this and thinking about this. I just Googled this real quick. This is back in February 2021 that there were reports that he was interested in purchasing the Washington football team.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. Now, we don't know if that's true, but there were reports, you're saying, at that time.
Reports. Yeah. There were reports that he was interested in it, and interested in maybe a number of teams, but specifically the Washington football team. And man, if you're the NFL, like Rodgers, if I'm Roger, I'm calling up Jeff going, hey, if we can get you 3/4 votes, I can guarantee that. Would you be willing to get this thing? And they pull that trigger pretty quick. Man, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think it could be a game changer. And honestly, it's a game changer for a franchise that needs the game changed, right? I mean, again, we talked about this a little bit. We've talked about this before. It's kind of a weird situation that I have some of the connections and relations that I have with, of all teams, the Washington Commanders. So when this stuff, comes out, I mentioned, I think it's last night's show, I've never met Dan Snyder. I've hung out a few times with Jason Wright, the VP of the team. I've met Tanya Snyder on a few occasions. Always been super nice, super friendly with me. Had a great conversation with her. So all these people have always been fantastic to me. Outside of that, I mean, I see what everyone else sees, right? Like I read the things in the news. I know the things that everyone else sees, and it's all bad.